Welcome to LaQuita's Toolbox, where we deliver relevant content in the form of tools that empower entrepreneurs to elevate personally and professionally. Good is only good until greater is envisioned. You know there's another level in you. Here we discuss the tools to get you there. Lean in as LaQuita and her guests present you with strategies and insight for unlocking your full potential to realize your boldest dream. Welcome back to another amazing episode of LaQuita's Toolbox. I am your host, LaQuita Monley, and I am having a fantastic day in the Lord today, and I hope you guys are as well. Those of you that are new to the Toolbox, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons so that you don't miss any notifications when new episodes of LaQuita's Toolbox go out live to you every Tuesday at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. Those of you that are returning listeners, you know the drill. Get something to write with and something to write on, because you do not want to miss any of the tools that will be shared with you on today, because we have an amazing guest in studio and she is going to share some wisdom with us on today. Y'all don't want to miss it. But before we jump into this conversation with Miss Vernita Stevens, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors at Covenant Press. Covenant Press is a faith-based Christian apparel and accessory shop where we as believers are able to shop online for clothing and accessories that allow us to wear the message of the love of Jesus Christ. Go out to www.covenant-press.com. Again, that's www.covenant-press.com. Shop until you drop, but don't click off those pop-ups too quickly, because they can contain a discount code. When properly applied at checkout, will allow you to save on your purchases with Covenant Press. Miss Vernita, welcome to LaQuita's Toolboxes. How are you?
I am doing great. Great. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for
Oh,
inviting me today.
you are so welcome. I've been waiting on this opportunity. It's like I kept dropping the ball, so I appreciate you.
All right. We keep we crossing paths, but right when we finally made it. We
You
finally made it.
finally look, because you my purpose twin. I was reading your newsletter. I get the notification in my email. Yes, I do. Because I'm subscribed to the newsletter, and sis be dropping some wisdom. So look, y'all don't want to miss it. Get your pencil, get your pen, your paper, whatever it is. Take these notes. If you drive it in your car, you probably can't do that. But since this is a podcast, go ahead and hit that notification bell so that you could come back and re-listen to it again. But look, Miss Renita, I'm subscribed to your podcast, and I know about just a little bit of the things you do. Please introduce yourself to LaQuita's Toolbox audience and tell us more about who you are and what you do.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Vernita Stevens. I like to say I am a mom, Marine, and agent for change, and there is power in embracing the pause. So, that wonderful newsletter you're talking about is called Pause on Purpose. That's one of the things I like to get out to individuals on LinkedIn, just to remind them to slow down. We are in a time where I like to call it the microwave time, right? Where people believe that everything has to happen extremely fast. But when we look at things that way, we're missing other things that are happening in our lives because we're trying to go so fast. So I want people to slow down. So I do this by speaking as well as training and occasionally consulting from time to time when it's needed.
Listen, I remember the first time I heard you say the power in the pause. That just blessed me in some phenomenal ways. And everybody needs to hear that. Everybody needs to hear that. But I'm going to put some emphasis on those of us in the entrepreneurial space, because no matter where we are in our entrepreneurial journeys, when we're looking at the social media landscape, and we're attending the conferences and different things of that nature, there's no pause there. It's about go, 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 do, stay top of mind. You got to do this, that, and 15 other things to stay top of mind, reaching your audience, building the know, like, and trust.
And somebody may drop an occasional nugget about self care. And I
Mhm.
say occasional. But that power in the pause, I want you to talk about that a little bit more in detail. And then the next thing I want to talk about is your wonderful career in the Marines, because that blessed my cotton socks too. Like, yes, honey.
Okay. Yeah. So, first, when you talk about the pause, right? And I think about being an entrepreneur myself. And yes, it is always hustle, bustle, ripping, running. We're trying to do so many things at once. But even in the hustle and bustle of doing that, there is an opportunity for you to pause and take a break. And there is value in it. Let me just say that. The
Yes.
reason it's value is because you need to know what your next steps are. So you're ripping and running, but if you're not taking a break to say, what direction do I want to go in? What direction am I being led to
Mhm.
go in? Right.
Right.
When we think about pausing to hear and to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, not what you want to be doing.
Come
And
on
so
now.
what
Yes.
I learned is that sometimes you got to slow down. I might not make it to a networking event because I slowed down long enough to say, you know what, is this my audience? Am I wasting energy in this space? Because yes, you want to be visible. Yes, you want to be seen, but is this the right space for me? Am I going to be in a space where I am uncomfortable? And let me talk about that for a minute,
Go
because
ahead. Go ahead.
pausing to be uncomfortable is important. Yes, you should go into a room where you can help, mentor, encourage other people. But how are you being fed? So if
That's real
you
good.
think about going into the room with people who know way more than you, that are stronger than you, guess what you do? You get a chance to pause. You get a chance
Mm,
to slow down, listen, and learn something that you did not know before. You get an opportunity to look at it from somebody else's point of view, someone else's perspective, and they get to say, you know what? I kind of like that idea, but I received it this way. This is what I heard you say. Have you ever considered this? It's not the thing I learned about speaking and being an entrepreneur. It is not about you.
come on
It
now.
is
Yes.
about the audience and the people that you're supposed to meet, those individuals that you are reaching and meant to reach. So if you get uncomfortable when someone says, well, this is I'm not receiving it this way. Now, I'm not saying change what your purpose is or where you're going. I'm saying to listen to your audience to ensure that they're receiving it the way you intended for them to receive it. So again, all these things require you to pause for a minute. All these things require for you to take a break, self-care, self-maintenance. We're not pouring from an empty cup. No, everybody, they
Come
get the
on.
overflow, right?
Yeah,
they
yeah.
get they get the
Yeah,
overflow.
yeah.
But I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
make sure that I'm taking care of me so I can take care of you. And
Yes.
so there is so much power in it. And when you look at my pause on purpose, and for those of you that are listening, please look me up on LinkedIn and subscribe to that newsletter, because I talk about so many things that you can pause about. So many areas where you can take 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Don't talk to me about the Zoom meetings and the next team meeting, because you can still take 90 seconds for yourself.
Yes.
So if you
Yes.
are listening, remember to pause and do it for you.
Yes. Listen, y'all, she dropped about 10 good nuggets. I'll stop counting at 10. Everything was a nugget. Hit the rewind button right now. Those of you that are listening to the podcast, hit the rewind button. Go back till around the about the 7-minute mark and just listen. Cause right there, all that just blessed all of my cotton socks, and I got a lot of them. The power I do, girl. Look, the power in the pause and why it's beneficial to us. Why, entrepreneurship is all about, being uncomfortable. But what does that mean? We got to be uncomfortable in some places. And if you are always the the head which way in every room that you in, not to say you in the wrong rooms, those are the rooms where you give. Now get into some rooms where you can receive. That's what my sister's saying.
Come on.
Get in the
That's what
room,
I'm talking about.
yes, that you can receive, because in order for you to grow, because growth don't stop until we draw our last breath. I believe
That's
that.
right.
Growth
That's
does
right.
not stop until we draw our last breath. So if you still breathing, you got some growing and maturing to do. Amen. So look, get
Mhm.
into some spaces where some people can pour into you so that you'll be better equipped to pour into the people that you've been called to pour into. And I love the fact that you said you got to pour from the overflow. You can't pour from an empty cup. And then the overflow means I should even be pouring from my full cup. Look, sister met her on LinkedIn as well. Dr. Tiffany Jenkins. I was doing an interview with her probably now about 2 years ago. And she wrote this book called Reclaiming My Time, A Black Woman's Guide
Mhm.
to Self-Care. And on the podcast, I think I had to jump up and run around the room for a minute because we always hear about the overflow. Okay. And sis
Mhm.
said, I don't pour from my cup, I pour from my saucer. I was like, come on,
Mm.
say that.
Yeah. That's
That
whatever fell off. That's whatever
come
as
on.
it filled over.
Yes, I'm like,
Okay. I
I'm so
like that.
full. It's flowing over. So those of you that drink tea, you know what I'm saying. If you don't drink
Yeah.
tea, you put your teacup in the
That's
saucer.
old school. That's
It's
old school.
old school. Yeah, I'm Southern. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm Southern from Mississippi. I was like, that. I caught that. You put your teacup on the proper saucer that it's supposed to sit on, and that's when
Mhm.
they pour your tea. And when if you should happen to get some spillage, it go in the saucer so it don't
Mm.
make a mess. Dr. Tiffany said we should always be pouring from our saucer. So that
Mm.
means we should always be positioning ourselves that we have somebody, some organization or something that's
Mhm.
pouring into us. And Vernita is saying that's the power in the pause, because my brain is on receive mode. Two
Yes.
totally different things. Like I'm just in this place where I'm receiving what I need
Yes.
to fill me up. And sis, I love it. A couple of
Yeah,
weeks ago,
you're on the download. You're getting downloaded. You're not yeah you're not in that space to where you're the one that's pushing. You're getting it.
I'm receiving,
You're receiving it.
and it's the other thing that I took away from that you said the power in the pause is it's 1,000% okay for me to have a need that needs to be met,
Hmm.
and that I seek out the time intentionally to go
Yes.
get that need met. Like I'm intentional to go get that need met. Like it's like going to get your car fixed, a regular maintenance. You got a warranty. You on time with that maintenance. You on
Mm.
time. And you're careful about the mileage because you don't want the miles to exceed the year that your warranty run out. We the same. Like I mean, these are the things that I'm receiving from the power of the pause. You
And
go
your
in,
body will tell you.
yeah,
I'm sorry, your body will tell you when you need to pause, because sometimes think back the last time you were working on something, a document or writing something or preparing for another podcast, and you felt like you were reading the same line over and over again and you just couldn't focus, and your mind, you were stuck in that place. Your body was telling you it's time for a pause.
yeah,
Get up from this space and clear your mind. But we have
yes.
to listen.
Yes, we have to listen. We recently, a couple of weeks ago, there was I'm currently preparing for a big event I'm hosting in Killeen. It's called the TV Media Tour, and it's July 11th and 12th. Well, originally the dates for the event was May 30th and 31st. So
Hmm.
in a couple of days. There were some things that happened because you put those of you that have put things on, stuff happened
Yes.
unexpectedly. And
Yes.
anyway, there were some things happen that caused me to need to change the date on my event. And in changing the date on that event, it shook a lot. It shook who the speakers and presenters would be because those new dates, some people weren't available. It shook up who could be a vendor because possibly those dates weren't available. Who was, the TV and media tour television sponsors. Like it shook up a lot. And it in turn shook me up.
Mm.
And I had to say, okay, what I'm gonna do. And in the midst of that, having someone like Vernita in your life is important. So in the midst of that, my Vernita called me. Her name is Latoya Nishay. She called and we were talking about it. And Toya said, "You need to take a pause.
Yes.
You need to get away from everybody." And this is just me. This is what LaQuita needed in that moment. I don't know what y'all need, but this is what I needed. And there was a retreat taking place in Fenton, Missouri for 7 days. And because the Lord is faithful, the retreat is called Keys to Freedom. Um, it was paid for completely. I paid a $50 registration fee, which was basically some materials that I needed to receive, like the workbooks and all of that,
Okay.
and get to Fenton. Those were the best 7 days, 7 whole days
Wow.
that I've had in a long time. And it was the pause. They asked us not to bring work if we could help it. But if you
Hmm.
had to work, fine, you got to work. They asked us to turn our cell phones off and leave them in our room because the lodging was provided as well. The food and the lodging for the 7 days was provided. Leave it in our room. In my mind, I'm thinking, I don't even know how I'm going to do that. All this stuff that's got to be done in this short period of time because the retreat happened the very next week after I had to change dates. So I was in the midst of chaos.
Okay.
I was in the midst of chaos. So the first day I left my phone in the room, I left my laptop in the room, and I became 100% as much as I could be, slow down my mind and be present in the moment in every session that was throughout the day. I tell you what, by lunchtime, I was able to be fully present. Because at first, when I came down for breakfast, I wasn't
Mhm.
fully present because I was worried about all of the things.
It
But
was the
everything,
noise.
it was the noise. I was like, it was the noise. But those 7 days blessed me like no other 7 days in my recent memory, right? In my recent memory. And I found that at the end, everything that I received was what I needed to put stuff together. And so that not just the TV media tour, but different other things could come together the way that they needed to. But
Mhm.
there is power in the pause. And what you choose to do and how you spend that pause is on you. But I'm in 1,000% agreement with Vernita. Make it be somewhere where somebody can pour into you
Mhm.
spiritually, naturally, something like get your cup to overflowing so that you can be ready to give back when it's time for you to give back. I just, I mean, that's powerful. That power in the pause. And so, like, when you are, what are some of the things that you would suggest when people know they need to take a pause? I'm realistic enough to know some folks can't take away 7 days with no work.
That's right.
Some
That's
folks
right.
can't do. That's just not realistic. What are some of the things that you can suggest for people that's just not a reality they can do?
So I like to suggest something I call mini vacations. And when I say mini vacations, sometimes people go, "Oh, well, I can't afford to go anywhere. I can't do this. I can't take time off." So let me clarify what a mini vacation is. You see, a pause comes in so many forms. So you can take a moment, get off your cell phone, step away from your electronics. I don't care if you write on a piece of paper and put it on your door and you tell your family you need a few hours to yourself. Go run you a bubble bath, put you some candles, put on your favorite music, and go retreat to a space in your home and take a break for a few hours. You are taking a pause. You are getting all electronics out of your hand. You're removing yourself from whatever noise is around you. You can go to a park, pack you a nice little lunch. Tell somebody where you are so that you're safe, or put your cell phone again or electronic somewhere that you can grab it in the case of emergency. But sit out on a blanket. It's beautiful now, and enjoy nature. Watch other people run around. Breathe some fresh air.
Yes.
Put the stuff down and go for a walk. Sometimes when I'm having one of those days, you know what I do? I just go walk. I mean, literally, when my body says, oh, I need a break, nothing is making sense, everything is jumbled up, go for a walk. And when I'm walking, let me talk about this. When you do these things, I want you to be present in that moment. So when I'm walking, I'm not thinking about the next speaking event, the next training, right? I'm not thinking about that. I'm looking at, what kind of tree is that? Oh my goodness, look at these beautiful birds out here.
Yeah.
I'm paying attention to my surroundings, and I'm being present with something other than what's going on in my life so that I can release it and be at peace. And so some of the things that you can do is right at your fingertips, but it goes back to being intentional with your pause. I understand that we can't all take long pauses. We can't all go away for a weekend. So that's why I suggest walks. If you like to ride bikes, ride a bike. If you have a park or somewhere you can go sit, even if it's in your neighborhood, go do that. If you can escape in your home for a minute, go do that. Listen, if you got a place, a hotel that you can go spend a night at by yourself, it doesn't matter if it's in that area, go and do that. But learn how to take a moment for yourself. See, you were talking about process. And what I've learned as an entrepreneur is that we used to expect work-life balance. But I'm here to tell people it's not a balance.
Come on.
It's a work-life harmony. And as I was becoming a business entrepreneur, it was so many things I had going on. So I actually created a work-life harmony planner. Okay. Because I wish someone had when I tell you I had 3-4 notebooks, sticky notes on the wall. I had stuff on my phone. I had stuff everywhere. I was forgetting to do this. What subscription I need to cancel? What day do I need to post on this? Who do I need to get this? Did I walk? Did I drink water? Did I do this? So what I did was I realized that you can bring harmony to your life because there are going to be things that are going to be on that scale. Back in the day, we used to have that teeter-totter, right? You get on that little scale, you be the one, somebody else will jump on there a little bit heavier and jack you up real quick, and your feet dangling and you can't go down, right? And then a friend would jump on the back and show you how to balance it out. Well, that's really what life does to us. And so I created that planner because we need to find the harmony in the imbalance and not expecting for things to be balanced. So I put it out. I mean, I'm so proud of that because it is everywhere. Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, people can get it from me. I looked myself up. Let me tell you, LaQuita, it even said I had a version of it on Target. I said, come on.
Come on now. Come on, somebody.
I said, wait a minute. What, you go Target online too?
You better make sure you drop that link to me so I can put it in the show notes, okay?
Okay, I will definitely do that because when you pause in, you can even put this in the plan. I have everything from a devotional to whatever your favorite scripture is, to how much water you drinking, to when you working out, to family time, down to your budget. Everything you can think of, I created because I wanted a one-stop shop place. And I know people gonna tell me, but Vernita, it's technology. I'm sorry, sometimes you got to write it down. See, when you pause in to think, you got to put that phone down and get away from the distractions. I love, the fact that even AI has been created and that helps us with some of the things, but nothing in this world replaces what is being given to you. Whatever your download, whatever God is giving you, nothing can replace that. Girl, and you got to put a pen to paper. You can't sit there and keep fooling. You got to put a pen to paper and you got to download it.
Yeah.
So
come on.
When we pause, we provide a space for the download. We provide a space to say, what do I need to do? Who do I need to reach? And more importantly, be okay for those that you don't reach. Because we have to understand that we're not meant for everybody, but who you are meant for, they're going to be there.
They're gonna be there. Yeah, come on now. Look, I should have reached out to you and told you to come to the TV media tour. Shoot.
Well, maybe not too late. Maybe I can make it. I don't know.
Go check your schedule. It's the British thing. Go check your schedule. Shoot. Look, because everything you said there is just, I hope y'all was taking notes. Because since then, she didn't just take us to church. She done blessed your whole life. I told y'all she keep blessing all of my cotton socks. Look, absolutely on point. It is absolutely on point. Everything you just said, because it's necessary. Like, it's absolutely necessary. I love the fact that you put in the journal. And for me, there's something therapeutic about writing it. I could type it out. Like, the fact that I needed to type out my book hindered me. And then, I went through a couple of book coaches. It was like, that you just lazy. No, I can, not that I can't type, but it's something about putting pencil to paper, a pen to paper that helps my flow. Or even with my train of thought, as something is being downloaded to me, for me to write it out, I might take up 5-7 pages to get all the thoughts out, depending on what it is that I have going. But at the end, it's something meaty and something weighty to that. It's personal. Like this, okay, this here, this is what's going to happen. This is the vision. This is the dream. This is the strategy. This is how it's going to work. When I put pen or pencil to paper and I've taken the time to write it down, and then I can add to or take away from, and just, it go from something that's written to an outline to a plan. You done got the vision out. You done got all of the thoughts, the bullet points out, and then it can transition into phases. The next thing I know, I done filled up a whole notebook on this one thing, but my end result is in there. That blesses me like completely. And I definitely, y'all want to go out to Amazon, Target, Barnes and Nobles, wherever you like your books from. And what's the name of the journal?
It's called a work-life harmony planner. And I said, and somebody told me, they said, it's not a planner. It's a book. Like, it's 200 pages thick.
Oh, it's a book, baby.
And it gives you, 2024 and 2025, because I believe in starting where you are. So it's not one of those things where people say, oh, well, it's a planner and, it's already June. So you write in your months. That's why I made it for 2 years, so that you can start on it the day that you get it. You start on it on your month, and it takes you out. So then next year, all I got to do is change those months at the front. But you put it in there. You start where you are. So then you don't have no excuse to say why I can't get it and why I can't start. No, you don't. You get it July 1st, you start writing in it July 1st, and you track your habits. You get to see what you're doing. You get to look at what are the things what did I do last month? Oh my goodness. I didn't post what I needed to post on Instagram. I didn't do what I needed to do on Facebook. Hey, you know what? Why did my revenue, because I put a budget in there, why did it increase right here? See, these are the things that we miss sometimes as entrepreneurs, that we like, no one told us. So it's trial and it's error and it's tripping over things, and we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But my thing is, we can stumble, we can lean, but we're not going to fall. We're going to get close to that ground.
Come on now.
Right? We're going to get close to it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to be able to just jump right back up. When you fell when you was little, you hit it with your hand and you get up so quick like nobody even knew you hit it. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having that space and having those things there that you need, so that you realize that things are going to get a little rocky, but you got stuff at your fingertips that you can do. And you know that when you pause, when you slow down, you can look back and see, what did I trip over? What almost made me fall? Who pushed me?
Come on.
You know what? Let me say the thing that nobody likes to talk about. When
Don't say
you
it.
pause, sometimes you realize you got to release people. I'm sorry, because they not
Ooh,
meant
come
to
on.
go where you going.
You
So
better.
your pause might be to detach
Come
some
on.
things that's holding you
Come on.
back so
Yeah.
that you can fly. You wonder why you still hovering low. You got to pause so you can go ahead and get them, let it go. And
Come
sometimes it's
on.
people and things. I hate to say it, but it's the truth.
It
It's the truth.
listen. Oh my God. Come on. Y'all listening, LaQuita's Toolbox? Y'all better be listening. But I'm telling you. Oh, look, I wanted to shout. I need a clap button on this here recorder. I do. And I know the roadcaster can do it. It's operator error because I wanted to clap and tell the church to say amen and amen. Look, this listen, y'all. Was you listening? Y'all need to be listening. This is the type of podcast that you need to listen to over and over so it can just soak in and resonate in your spirit. Because sis is dropping tool after tool after tool that is definitely easily implementable to help you grow personally and professionally. And that for me, I believe that my personal growth, the measuring stick of my personal growth is my business growth. If I'm a
Mm,
business owner, it is my career trajectory. If I'm a career individual, because when I grow personally, that will reflect in how I do what I do. And my talent could get me some places that my character will get me kicked out of.
mm,
But when I grow personally, when I take that time to be poured into,
mm-hmm.
when I take that time to do a real self assessment, get a harmony in my life, do that real self assessment and say, what are the things, stuff, and people from this stage in my life that can go with me to the next stage in my
That's
life?
it. That's it.
Where are the tips, tools, and strategies, the things that I need to unlearn from this stage in my life that will no longer serve me in this next coming stages of my life? Boy, I bet listen, you better shout with me.
Yeah.
LaQuita's Toolbox audience, y'all better shout with me because Vernita is bringing fire today. All right, bringing fire today. Look, y'all, you're enjoying the podcast, hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons so that you can receive notifications. Ring those notification bells so you can receive notifications when new episodes of LaQuita's Toolbox drops every Tuesday at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. Y'all don't want to miss any of the episodes. And make sure you put Vernita's episode on repeat right here. Put it on repeat. Because look, because what you're saying is not specific to a particular line of work. It's
Mm-mm.
not specific to entrepreneurship. It's not even specific to earning money. This is life tools. You could
Right.
be retired, stay at home mom, stay at home dad. It don't matter
Mm-mm.
because be clear for those of you that are listening, my mompreneurs, or you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, and you're a full-time parent. Be of no mistake that the things that you are coordinating and mastering and maneuvering, that's a 24/7, 365 job. That don't get no days off.
It sure is.
But these tools that Vernita is talking about in her journal, oh yeah, we need wherever you are in life, whatever you're doing, that's something that we need because planning and managing a household well,
Mm-hmm.
you got to plan and manage yourself well. You have to plan and manage your budget well.
Yep.
Those are tools that I just see this being useful.
I
And
even put family time in there. I even put
yeah,
a question in the back. What family time, board games, activities? Because again, we get away from that. We
yeah.
forget about those people who sometimes stand by us. A lot of us working from home now.
Mhm.
And we say, oh my God, I work from home, so I'm home. Yeah, but you're still not present.
Come on,
You're
talk about
home, but you're not present. So pause to be present.
it.
When you walk away from the computer, it means put the phone down too and be present in that moment. Sometimes we just play Uno.
Mm, that's
I
good.
mean, that's
Yeah.
just an old game, but you know what? It makes us laugh a little bit. It
Mhm.
gives us just a little bit of time to be together, and no one's on their phone. We're
So you
talking
can be
to each other
connected.
about our
Yeah.
day. Yeah, we getting a chance to connect again.
Yes. I love that. I love that. My husband often play board games with my kids. And if I could say that's something that I regret not participating in more when they were younger and when they were growing up, that would be one of the things because I would be so overwhelmed
Hmm.
with everything. Not making an excuse, it's just the truth.
Right.
I took those times that they were playing those board games to zone out on whatever it was I was doing, whether it was reading a book, watching TV, or writing at that time I was doing a lot of traveling and speaking, working on, working on my speeches or whatever. But what I should have been doing is being more present in the moment
Hmm.
to where now, even as adults, my children think nothing about grabbing a board game. When everybody was locked down on 2020, I played more board games
Hmm.
and heard my adult children cuss. And the first couple of times they realized I'm cussing in front of my mom, but it was too funny because I was coming from my room back into the living room, and everybody got a quiet child. My quiet child, they made him angry because somebody was cheating, and it happened, but it was fun. You know, it was fun. It was being together in those moments, connecting. We got to be present. I'm telling you, I, y'all, I'm getting a copy and a copy for a friend. Y'all going to get your copy, get a copy for a friend because we all got a friend that need it. I know I do. I got several friends that
Hmm.
need to have this in their life. But look,
Yeah, throw some tabs in there. I tell people put your tabs, your smiley faces, so you can mark your little months. And someone actually got it from me, and they posted it on Facebook, and they said, "Hey, I've already started." And they
yeah,
showed me the way they bought, the little tabs, and they started breaking their stuff down. And when they were accomplishing stuff, they were putting sticky notes, and I mean, they made it a whole. I said, "Well, Grad Day, you took it somewhere else."
come on now.
That I wasn't even thinking. And see, when you do that, people are thinking of what motivates them and how creative they can be. And so, um, yeah, I just love these spaces where we can pause, even right now in this moment,
Mhm.
when you and I pause to allow each other to speak and we listen. When we leave here today, we've both learned something else about each other. We've
Yes,
both learned something that we can use. We have both been given a tool from the toolbox that you speak of. And I think that shows the value of having this podcast and doing it and speaking from a toolbox is because that's what we're doing. Sometimes it takes iron to sharpen iron,
yes.
and we might have to dust off each other's tools every now and then. I'm a little country girl that grew up in Virginia, and I think about sometimes, daddy say, "Hey, go get that toolbox." And I'm like, what do you want? And it might be a wrench or a screwdriver, but you
Mhm.
got to pick up the top part of it and go underneath it. And it's got a little rust on it, and it's a
Yes,
little dirty, and you got to clean it off, but it still works.
yes, it does.
And so something just told me to say, there may be something that some of you all are listening, feel like it's a little rusty. You haven't picked it up in a while. There's a tool, there's a skill. It's something that it is that you're good at and you're questioning it. So I want you to pause and ask yourself, why are you questioning it? You're good
Come
at
on.
it. It's
Yeah.
your tool. And even though it might seem like it's a little old and it need to be cleaned off, it still works.
It still works.
So
Come
when we
on.
mess up, we mess up at some stuff. We might feel like we fail. You didn't fail, man. That was a stepping stone. That
Come
was
on.
a moment. That was a moment that you learned something. You better wipe that thing off. I know you get discouraged because so have I many times. And I had to sit and be quiet and go and it's probably other new times that I'm going to sit and be quiet and remove myself for a minute. But that's the only way that I can keep growing. We have
Yeah.
to take a step back sometimes. And we got to enjoy the journey. If you're trying to get to the top of the mountain, but you done forgot about what happened in the valley,
Ooh, come on.
I mean, what? It's not exciting, right? You're just trying to get to the next. The joy was in the journey that we missed.
Come on
So
now.
we
That
got to
joy
just
in the journey.
pause to slow down. You just got to pause. It's power. It's power in that pause.
My God, my God. There's power in the pause, and there should be joy in your journey. Come on, sis. That's two messages. Yeah, actually, you done dropped enough. I probably could preach from now to Jesus come of several things. I could teach you. I'm telling you about several things you just said. But in case y'all missed it, there's power in the pause, and there should be joy in the journey. Not that everything in the journey gonna go right, because sis was like, "Oh, don't forget about what happened in the valley," and she's right. Don't forget about what happened in the valley when you are climbing up the mountain, especially when you get to the peak. Don't let it be all about getting to the top. Where is that joy? Come on now. Where is that joy in the journey? The lessons you've learned, the people's lives that you've touched, the people who have touched your life. Amen.
Mm,
The
yeah.
joy in the journey, the whys of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and who do I believe that I'm called to serve. Come on now. Listen, right here, this podcast, this right here. Let me tell y'all something. I wasn't expecting this. Praise the Lord. I wasn't, I'm telling you, I wasn't expecting this. But you know what? The Lord shows up in the unexpected. He
Mm-hmm.
shows up in the places he needs to show up. In this right here. This is the whole reason for LaQuita's toolbox, man. I love that analogy with the toolbox and the big tools. The big tools are usually the ones that's on that bottom. And they do get a little rusty because you don't use them as often.
Mm-hmm.
And that toolbox, the reason that how I came up with the toolbox um, was we all got tools,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes we don't know how to use them. Your
Yeah.
dad sent you in to get the wrench. He sent you in to get the screwdriver. He sent you in to get a socket, something. But at some point, he had to teach you what was what and what
Yes.
was the appropriate tool for what job. That was
Mm,
the premise for LaQuita's toolbox. We got tools, or we're gonna buy tools. We're gonna put tools in the toolbox, but we're also going to teach you how to use the tool so you'll know the proper tool for the job. So you won't be using a butter knife when you should be using a flathead screwdriver.
that's right. That's
You can
right.
use the right tool. And right there, my sister says, even if you haven't used that tool in a while, don't mean it's not usable. Does not mean it's not usable. Don't matter. It's some rust caked up on it. There's
That's
some solutions that'll get rid of that rust.
that's right. That's right.
You can spray it on, or you can soak the tool in it. But that tool still get the job done.
Yeah.
So
Still
don't
work.
yes, don't devalue your toolbox. Don't devalue the tools that are in your toolbox, people of God. Do not devalue the tools that are in your toolbox. Miss Vernita, this has been an amazing podcast, and I don't want to stop. But you know what? I said we was going to talk about your amazing journey in your career as a Marine, because the
Yes.
largest majority of my podcasts are within our military community, and I say our military community because I feel like I'm a part of that community as a military spouse. We're gonna talk about it, but I think we're gonna talk about it on our next episode.
Okay.
I think we're gonna talk about it on our next episode, and how that, because again, our parts of our past help to build the foundation for who we are and what we're doing right now in this season. And so I know, other than myself, some of our listeners, especially those sisters that have served, that
Mm-hmm.
feel, I know I've got several friend girls that have served, and a lot of times they don't feel that their tools are being valued properly, because
Yeah.
a Marine is a Marine.
You better believe it. I'm
A sailor
always
is
be
a
a
sailor.
Marine. I
There you
stand on
go.
that.
Come on now. Come on now. A soldier is a soldier. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it
That's
doesn't
right.
matter
That's
whether
right.
you're male or female. Without everybody working together collectively or synergistically, the mission does not get done. So we definitely want to bring that into the conversation on
Okay.
our next episode, because I want to make sure that our military community is they're seen and they're heard, and they understand their value or worth. And I know we're going to wrap up the podcast, but I would like you to take just a second so they can know to check you out when this next one come out. So to give some wisdom and some value to those that have served, whether they're male or female, and make sure you give an emphasis. I guess I'm gonna take that back. Make sure you give an emphasis on the sisters that are currently serving or retired or no longer in service about their value and their worth, um, and the tools they bring to the table.
I appreciate that. And so, the month of May was about mental health, right? The month of May is about mental health. And for those of you listening, you can actually go to LinkedIn, and I posted, I did for Veterans Day last year. I was a speaker at the Urban League at Winston-Salem. I was their keynote, and I talked about mental health in veterans.
Mm.
And so, especially to those, all veterans, women veterans, we have to remember that just because the skill that you learned has a different title, right? It doesn't mean that it's not something that you can transfer over into what it is that you're doing now. Just because you no longer wear the uniform, it does not mean that you don't stand proud and stand tall in those things that you believe in. See, that transition, because I'm retired, it's hard for some people, easier for others. But what we got to remember is that it is a process, and it's a process that you go through every single day. You stay encouraged. You remember what it is that you learn, and don't downplay yourself, right? Because what happens is, when sometimes you're in the military, you have all these different collateral duties, and you've done all these things, and then when you get in front of other people, they ask you what you've done, and you don't want to seem like I'm telling you a whole lot of stuff. Well, let me tell you all, it ain't bragging or boasting if it's true.
Come on now, say that again.
It's not bragging and boasting if it's true. You have done these things. You have beat the odds in certain areas. Be proud of those things that you've done. And even right now, if things are a little bit difficult for you, talk to somebody. Get the help that you need. There is no shame in getting someone to help you, having a mental health provider. There is no shame asking someone to help you the same way that you've helped others. This, or the military, was a spot in your life and a chapter. Now I want you to use what you learn in, say, chapter 1 to make it a continuous of chapter 2. The journey didn't stop when you got out or retired. It was just beginning. It was only the first chapter of your life. You are still writing your story. You are the author of your life. You are the author of the story, and you will determine how it ends. So I ask that you stay encouraged. You remember that that was just the first chapter, and the book does not end. You determine when it's over, and you determine what it makes. And even when you stumble and fall along the way, remember, you might lean and you might rock, but you're not going to fail. You are going to learn. You're going to wipe yourself off, and you're going to continue to grow.
Awesome, awesome. It don't stop. This is just the next chapter. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Miss Vernita, thank you so, so much for being a guest on LaQuita's Toolbox. And we look forward to having you come back for another episode and for being a guest on LaQuita's Toolbox Live. So, y'all make sure, if you are not tuned in, if you're not tapped into LaQuita's Toolbox, go ahead and hit those like, share, subscribe buttons so that you can receive notifications when new episodes do come out. And if you're not locked in on my every Thursday live stream that streams live to LinkedIn and YouTube, make sure you go out to LinkedIn. Follow Miss Vernita on LinkedIn. Follow LaQuita on LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn so that you can receive those notifications when we're going live, because you don't want to miss this live conversation that we have coming up with Miss Vernita. I'm live every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We have some amazing guests that are dropping tips, tools, and strategies. And I can't wait to continue this conversation with Miss Vernita on the live stream here real soon in the very near future. But I forgot before we go, make sure you let everybody know how they can. I know you've given them your LinkedIn information. How can they connect with you? And what events do you have coming up next that perhaps we can support?
Thank you so much for asking. Well, you can find me on all social media handles at Vernita Stevens. You can also find me on YouTube. If you want to hear some samples of me speaking and or training, you can go out there and look those things up. If you want to get in contact with me, you can just send me an email at info at the number 2, the letter P, LLC.com. Again, that's info, the at symbol, the number 2, the letter P, LLC.com. I have a lot of training events coming up with different corporations right now, but I will keep you posted on my next speaking event. I know I will be speaking next week here in the Charlotte area for an organization called Network Build Grow, and I will be talking to them about Harmony Unleashed.
Awesome. Harmony Unleashed. I know they're going to be blessed audience right there. Listen, guys, we appreciate you again, Miss Vernita. Thank you all to the LaQuita's Toolbox listeners that continue to support. We appreciate you. Could not do this without your continued support and your continued financial support and donations. If this is your first time tuning in to LaQuita's Toolbox, I know this episode blessed your cotton socks. Go ahead and make sure that you don't miss any episodes by continuing to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm your host, LaQuita Monley. You guys be blessed and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.